When we outside, it's an ocean of love. All that we align to the stars up above. Let we dance now, take a chance now with me. And we go jump till morning. Look, the moon gone sleeping. Tell them we not leaving till the last drop of a canal is madness in the capital. So I feel like I'm running tongue again. Jump and shake the ground.
Pleasant good evening to our viewers and our listening public. My name is Nigel Couttier, and today we are live with Eugene Couttier. And in our presence this evening, we have one of the legendary gentlemen, one of the man who mastered his craft, so-called to say, with the guitar, not other than Mr. Eugene Bass. So, Mr. Bass, pleasant afternoon to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome, and thank you for being here this afternoon, and thank you for being our presence.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. And I also want to thank Mr. Madison.
Madison?
Yes, for encouraging me to take the opportunity, because last time I did any interview was way back in the 60s. This guy used to have Southern Parade.
The 60s, I say, you know?
Yeah. I started in 67.
I was a baby then.
Yeah.
67?
Yeah, they had this a show on Radio Trinidad.
Yeah. I wonder how many of us remember Radio Trinidad, boy.
Yeah.
Radio Trinidad is a long time, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of akin to history, so my memory is go way back. Yeah.
So for the persons who are listening and viewing, right, when you hear the name Eugene Bass, who is Eugene Bass?
Eugene Bass, presently I'm 74 years of age. I was born in Forest Reserve.
That's Faizabad.
No, Forest Reserve it's in the Southwestern Division.
Mm-hmm.
It's neighboring to Faizabad, it's further west than Faizabad.
Right.
And I say that because I always tell everyone when I used to travel, the best community in the Western Hemisphere is Forest Reserve, for the simple reason. The first successful oil well in Trinidad and Tobago was drilled in 1914 in Forest Reserve.
History by 1914?
Yeah. The well is still, they call it Discovery Well, it's still working. It's still
producing today?
Yes. And up to 1968, they used to be producing 36,000 barrels of oil per day in the area.
So just for the persons who are viewing and listening, and you're talking about Forest Reserve. Forest Reserve is that area, Forest Reserve, Santa Flora, Point 14 is the home of, was a Petrotrin, Texaco in those days, correct?
Well, it used to be is UBT and Point and all of them were together. But it was also TLL, Trinidad Lease Limited.
TOL?
Yeah. Trinidad Oil Fields Limited, yeah.
Okay.
And then as it went on, when we were growing up was Forest Reserve. And still, so I grew up knowing some real stalwarts.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of the things I remember very well. I heard a gentleman on TV, on the radio, saying that he don't call black people comrades. But I remember at the age of 8, that is when Edison Arantes, known as Dos Nascimento Pele, played his first World Cup, 1958 for Brazil. And we were in the schoolyard in Forest. And every minute you hear Pele, Pele, Pele. So all of us wanted to be a Pele as well.
He grew up in that time.
Yes.
And hearing and seeing.
And not only that.
Great Pele.
Not only that. It's from there. We were called comrades, we little guys. And we had a beautiful relationship with Mr. Beckles, who is what is her name? The member of parliament.
Penelope Beckles?
Her father.
Right.
He used to be in Forest Reserve. And even the chief servant will come and say, gentlemen, could you all hold up a little bit? We say, yes, Comrade Butler, and the little fella. And this is how, we grew up with that. So I am a real Forest guy.
Forest guy.
And we produce some of the greatest footballers.
Trust me, I'm fully aware of that.
Yeah.
I'm fully aware of that.
People like Bertrand Grell, Selwyn Moyne, George Baker, who is dead, the late, and Ivan Digoville, they represented Trinidad
Tobago
at Faizabad, Apex Recreation Ground.
In fact, listen, Faizabad is one of the greatest places, and then now you have with the OWTU and the March, and the unions, all that take
Right.
place in Faizabad.
And then the first hunger march took place under Uriah Butler in 1932
Okay.
from Faizabad to Port of Spain.
From Faizabad to Port of Spain.
Yep.
Okay.
And the Labor Day, the 19th of June, should be ascribed as Butler's Day and not just Labor Day. But for some reason, unknown to whoever decided to refuse to give him the pips, they have left it as Labor Day. Yeah.
Okay. But there's some history for us. I mean, I'm learning and I'm grateful for that knowledge because you look like you have a wealth of knowledge and experience that's coming out of that community of Faizabad. I too originally from Faizabad, yeah?
Nice.
So yes, I'm from Faizabad, but
Good.
of course it's two different generations.
Right.
Yes. But it's good to know that Faizabad, because when you speak about Faizabad, I can safely say just off the record is that I think Faizabad is supposed to be way more advanced than where it is today.
Okay.
Yes, it's a bit underdeveloped, and that is something I always pay attention to.
I agree with you.
Yes. But so how was it for you growing up in that community of Forest Reserve with regards to you nurturing yourself into where you are today?
What really happened is that my brother, who was the most versatile, the elder brother who died in 1982, he used to play mouth organ. But every little beat we hear, we will try to do it. But I was more into recitation.
Right.
And I want to mention these two people's names. The late Miriam Harris, who taught us, and Beryl Price, two of the greatest teachers. They were both disciplinarians from different ends. Miss Price used to deal with beginners.
Right.
And Mrs. Harris will cream it off with miserable people, like when I became miserable and so on.
So you fall in the miserable bracket?
Well, I mixed up with it.
It's a mix.
Yeah. And I
Discipline and miserable.
And I said, I remember them. They were two of the greatest mentors, especially Mrs. Harris. She took us up to the other level.
So how long have you been in this though? From what level, what age had you started?
All right, at the age of 17 is when I started to pick up music. And in 1963, we lived in Palo Seco, and I remember there were some neighbors, the Guevaras. They used to play a lot of Ron Berridge music. Ron Berridge was one of the...
And I would ask, what is Ron Berridge?
Ron Berridge was an orchestra.
Okay.
Right? And Calypso, he was one of the chief arrangers in the country. And in his band had the brother of Les Sargent. Les Sargent was a guitar player who used to work with Fitzvaughan Brand, whose daughter is in Israel, Hilary Sargent.
Right.
Good friend of mine, so I work with her a lot.
A lot of experienced persons.
Yes. And from there, I started to pick up on things, and I said I was attracted to the bass guitar. But then in 63, we were living in Palo Seco inside what is called STOL, a sub-Trinidad oil field limited.
Yes.
My father was the corporal, the state police.
Okay.
So Vin Courtney used to practice away from us, and I used to go up and listen. And I'll go close to the keyboardist and watch what we're doing and listen to the... But the bass player was the one who used to cushion me and tell me, well, on a weekend, I could go and clean the instrument. Used to stay close to a guy named Sicharan, Mr. Sicharan. I used to go and clean out the cupboard and take the bass guitar and learn. But then I said, wait. I saw an advertisement in the US School of Music to do a correspondence course. And I wrote them. And they instructed me. They said the cost of a bass guitar may be too much. And when I checked it out, I really saw it. There was upright bass guitars. In that time, it was about $1,000.
So I can imagine the disappointment.
Well, in a way, but it inspired me to switch to the guitar.
To the guitar.
And from there, it was no turning back. I started doing guitar, and I did a correspondence course. But I had 96 lessons to complete to get a diploma. But in going, I reached 48 lessons. But I realized there was nothing about Trinidad and Tobago in the lessons. Like, a little folk song of Trinidad, because I grew up doing a lot of folk song. So I said no, and I stopped. And I met a guy who plays trumpet. He had a brochure on jazz music. That did it for me.
And you make that switch, and from there.
Yes, and I would always love calypso. I tell you, when I hear calypso music, my idols, people who really impressed me a lot at that age, the late, great Fitzroy Coleman, and a relative of the late Winifred Atwell, Larry Atwell.
Larry Atwell.
Two great guitar players. They were in London.
So, but what about this gentleman from down on that side, more Santa Flora, Palo Seco, Ashford Joseph? Are you?
Well, I knew Ashford, but his brother had a band before. I knew him, and I did some work with Ashford. For that matter, when Ashford called me to do some work with his classes, Marshall was on the class.
With Marshall Montano.
Yes,
right.
Marshall Montano, and I did some workshop with him and so on. And what amazed me, when I met Marshall, could have been about 10, 11. And I could have seen what he was influenced had, like I call it now, how much is the US dollar store now? 7 to 1?
7 to 1, I guess. I think so.
But it could have been about 4 or 6 to 1 at the time. So he went into what I call the 6 to 1 vocal. So he said, Mr. Bass, I have a little band, and I'd like you to come and give up some help. I said, okay, sir. I said, could you give me your dad and mother's number, so I'll give you it, and you will let them get on to me.
Right.
And that was it, But I admire how he felt about himself and what he was doing.
Always confident.
Yes.
And he know basically where he was going and what he wanted to achieve.
I did 2 workshops for Ashford. Ashford, very genuine guy.
Yeah, I did some work with Ashford, Mr. Joseph himself. I did vocals. I did keyboards.
Nice.
I think I did guitar too. That's a good way back. Listen, I didn't finish any. I was just having fun.
Good.
And Mr. Joseph and I were really, really good because he had his band, and I also was song engineer for his band as well.
Good.
So I too was involved in the music with him at, I can't remember what year, but yeah. Because he always into music and always he have his school and the whole.
Yeah, and he has a nice rapport with the youths.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, but back to you now, because you been around, you play. In the sense, you did your training. You did finish the 96 classes.
No,
you did the 40. It was 46?
I did 48.
48.
Yes.
Right, because it had nothing about Trinidad.
No, it's nothing. No, none of the music that I grew up with,
And then you switched to jazz. Last thing is, I remember you said you switched to jazz.
I got that because the type of chord structure. I remember listening to Scipio Sargent, who was the brother of Les Sargent. Les Sargent is the father of a lady named Hilary Sargent. She is in Israel now. Because, and I see, I hear some music. And when we were in Palo Seco, I will be coming out. And from the time I heard Ron Burridge music, I will stop till I don't know if you know the name Alwyn Ferguson. He used to play football.
I heard the name. I don't. Is that a name that I will hear every day? But I heard it.
Right. Alwyn played a lot of football he played for Trinidad. He played for South, and he was Palo Seco's
very own.
Captain. And his sister was Joyce, and they used to call me Ron. They used to call me Burridge anyway. They see me because anywhere I go in, I used to stand up and just listen. And when I go back, my mother will be buffing me and saying, "Why is this so long?" I said, "Mommy, I was listening to Ron Burridge music." Ron Burridge go mind you?
Well, I hope so.
So that was it. And with that, I got hooked onto what I was hearing. When we went back to Faizabad in 68, went back to Forest Reserve in 68. And I met Chester George, the late Chester George.
Right.
Who was living in Mary Street, I think.
Mary Street is exactly where Faizabad, for itself, or Santa Flora?
Faizabad.
Faizabad.
And he was into some advanced structure. So an evening I was practicing with a group, Black Diamonds from Faizabad. And he came and he come and he asked me, he said, excuse me, do you read music? I said, a little bit. So he brought a score sheet. So I went home with it.
And you just started playing?
You know, I went home with it first because I didn't want to do it with everybody there and stuff. And also, while we were at Palaseco, the great, late Watty Watkins saw me with my guitar in the evening. And he say, young man, good day. I say, good day. He said, you live up here? I say, yes, sir. I say, you are Mr. Watkins? He said, you know me? I said, I know about you. He said, all right, there's a gentleman who lives in Simpson Brown Terrace. He's telling me that.
That's Couttier.
Yes, name is Farrell. I want to take you to Mr. Farrell and let him audition you and so on.
But before you go into Mr. Farrell, so when you went Faizabad and the gentleman approached you, with the music sheet, right? You didn't want to play at that point, but I know you could play. So what exactly was on that music sheet at that time?
They had some music scores or some.
You can remember any now? You can remember any one of those tunes or anything close to that?
I can't remember the score it had.
But even if I can remember any of what was on the sheet, can you remember any music close to that at this point in time?
Well, what I did at that time is I went into the Kaiso area and I took some like a folk song and I did some improvisation.
Well, let's hear one of them now. Let me hear a little something now.
Like this is one of them, right?
Nice.
That's the basic how I started the program slowly. That's the Yellow Bird, which I know a little fella growing up.
Yellow Bird, I don't even know Yellow Bird. I might say Green Bird or Blue Bird or some kind of bird.
and then I listened to, there was an article in the papers with Sparrow and they were taking Harry Belafonte to task.
The task. But hold that point right here.
Yes, sir.
We're going to take for a short break, and we're going to come right back into just what you're about to speak
Very
about.
well, sir.
All right? So we're going to come right back at you.
Trinbago Heritage, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on NCBNTT Television Network.
Change charts, if you tell us sound boy better stay calm, be cool.
They give we a center. But foundation equipped, brother. Before you could say Raja, but look at the way the furniture, and it's like we complaining. There's no chance for sitting. Everybody giving comment and we cussing the government. But it's we who throw rubbish on the street. It's we who does litter up we beach. It's we who does the garbage bin to put drinks to go for when we venting. I tell you it's we, brother, let us do these things. It's we who does cause the only sufferings. It's we who does fuss and complain. But I say, it is we to blame.
When we outside, it's an ocean of love. All that we align to the stars up above. Let we dance now, take a chance now with me. And we go jump till morning. Look, the moon gone sleeping. Tell them we not leaving till the last drop of a canal is madness in the capital. So
Just before we went for a break, you were mentioning something. You can remember what you were speaking about?
Yeah. I was speaking about the introduction and how I started to adapt to some things that I was hearing, which was more advanced than what I even thought that I would have been able to do.
All right. Now, what is that exactly?
All right. I remember reading some downbeat magazines in those days. Downbeat was an American magazine dealing with jazz.
Right.
And then I saw an article on, the time was Wes Montgomery.
Wes Montgomery.
Yeah. Wes Montgomery, he played double octaves music. Something like this.
But I know what the answer was double octave because
Right.
I remember I play a little thing in the guitar that was
Good.
way back when, yeah, but
Right.
I'm very rusty.
Good. So this is C. An octave is an interval of 8 notes, right?
8 notes. Cameraman, you need to zoom into this, please, right? I'm doing a
So we have-
crash course here.
We have C here,
That is C.
and then we have C here. This is C. This is the lower one, this is the higher one.
So lower C and higher C.
Right. And then we have this one, which is high. This was an octave above this one, which is lower.
Right.
So when Wes Montgomery is playing, he had to play. He'd be playing like this. He playing octaves, right? That's how I learned. I realized that's what he was doing. So I started doing it, and I realized, but it was a little bit tough. I mean, I didn't master it, never master it, and I fell in love with it. And the other thing is playing with guitar pick.
But I'm watching you. I'm now going to ask you that because when I look at your hand placements and your hand movements, right? And the next thing I see, you're not using no pick. So now I want to ask, is it something natural or you choose not to use the guitar pick?
Right. The reason for not using guitar pick is the same thing I learned from reading articles when Wes Montgomery said where he lived. When he used to use a pick, the neighbors used to quarrel because
Right.
it was making noise, the pick. And he just discarded it and started using his thumb.
But I don't cut. You don't bruise
No,
or
but
cut your
you
finger?
see, but using the pick, the
Right.
pick is solid. So the effect, the pick will be the pick will give a song when it hit the string,
Right.
right? And when you use this, you don't get that.
You don't get it. It's a smooth.
Yeah,
but,
this.
But my finger is so soft and delicate, and I'm gonna
Well, this-
strum on wire and thing.
well, this is what-
He said the wire remain in my hand or the.
This is what make it nice. Playing like this, and I've been doing this since March 17, 1967.
And the finger don't get hard or nothing.
Never.
But after playing guitar, you can still pass your finger on a girl's face and thing.
No.
And she won't get scratches or bruises.
No, the girls will pass your hand on the neck and stuff. You know
I
what I'm
want to make sure. Because when I go down, my finger hard, I want to pass my finger. My wife face go say, but what's going on with you?
Nah.
Like you ask me if I change in tires all there.
What happens when you now start, you will get like, now if you notice, the flesh here, which they do all the hammering here, here is softer than these because they are more use what I call the claw. I use here. Sometimes I will play like, I could do this, right?
That's what you call that. Trumming, picking, what you call
No,
that?
I'm just like vamping.
Vamping, you call
Yeah.
it?
Now instead of playing like I have to. And when you play up, you get a different tonality than when you play down.
So you can play, so you're not only down, I thought guitar was no, it's up and down. It's kind
Nice.
of yes,
That's with the
hands
guitar
placement.
pick, yeah. And
Like with the guitar pick, but you could do that with your thumb just so. And you won't enjoy yourself or cut
at
your
all. That's why these always stay
and
Yeah.
the finger will remain soft.
all the time.
Baby bottom soft.
Yeah, all the time. Because
Making
this is
sure, you
what,
know.
I mean, you check from March 1967 to now.
And the fingers are soft?
I don't
So
play.
you don't feel, I feel anything. I have to make sure it's soft, you know.
Yeah, man, that's what you're talking about.
Nice. So let me ask you something. So how was the journey, right? Because I listened from Forest to where you are now. How
Right.
was the journey like? And for the persons who are looking on, young person like myself, because I'm not that old, contrary to how you all think. I mean, we have a little one or two little strong agree here. I'm not old. I'm still pretty young, right? How was that journey for you, from where you were then to where you are now?
It was tough because I have family,
Right.
big family, and I spoke to my wife at the time. I said, I want to do music full time. I don't want to continue working.
And what was her response?
Her response, I don't want to use the name like in the protective service they call it when you don't reply, they call it dumb insolence. But
She said how the bill's going to be paid.
right, that is what. But she gave the support nonchalantly, like, well, if it's that what you want to do. I say, I am going to do it, but I just want to know how you feel about it. I want to get a feedback from you because we are here and we have children together.
Right.
You know, so although I'm making the decision, I want you to be part of it.
Of the decision
So
making.
if you say you don't agree with me, I will
Scrap it.
No, I will respect it, but I'm going to still do it. Because I made up my mind too. You know?
So just I want to make sure I understand. You ask her for basically her views
Yes.
on this situation.
Good.
But that doesn't mean I'm going to listen to you. So whether you agree
No,
or
I
disagree,
listened. But I listened.
you listen, but
But
didn't
I-
take her advice.
I did not disagree with her. I said, I agree with how you feel, but you don't agree with what I'm going to do.
However, this is what I am moving forward with.
That's it.
I must try that.
And I went so far as to tell her,
I
I
must
said,
try that.
listen,
At the time, my wife that I'm not listening. I say, wifey, I listen to you, you know. I agree with what you're saying, you know. It's just you don't agree with me.
yeah, I went so far as to tell her, I said, listen, the name itself represents music. I told her all that at that tender age, you know.
Yes.
I said, bass is the lowest sounding voice in music. I said, and in them days they say, call fish ital. I said, there's a fish called the bass fish.
The bass fish, so you see, bass is ital, fish ital.
And this is something I'll throw to you guys here. The most creative creature God created is the fish.
I thought it was man.
No,
Shucks, man. I mean,
because listen, music has a lot of scales. When you have to clean a fish, you've got to take off the scales.
but it says some fish have no scale.
Yes, some, but fish on the whole. Once you say fish, you start dealing with music.
Oh, okay, because they have scales.
Scales all the way. Check it.
Men have no scale. Men just hadn't. Yeah. We just
That
had.
is it. This is what I wanted to do. At that tender age,
Right.
I couldn't let that
That
pass
opportunity passed.
by. God would have vexed with me.
But wifey didn't get vexed with you though.
No, she wasn't vexed, but she was disheartened.
She was disheartened.
Yes.
I like your choice of words.
Yeah, because after that, everything went nice because I started touring and traveling.
So the music now started to generate an income. Because you're touring, you're playing with different bands,
Nice.
then you're teaching.
I used to play with groups too, you know, but at that time, you know, people want to pay next to nothing, you know.
But that was then. And I think it still is today.
For some people who may not have the goal like me to tell them, excuse me, sir, if you're hiring me, the rates are.
It's either you can't pay or you can't.
In that is the rates are not what you decide, unless I sanction you to decide what you got to pay me.
This is a gentleman who knows his value and knows his worth and knows the experience you bring with it. So how was that band experience and the touring experience? How was that?
Well, the experience traveling was good. And what was nice for me is that the same thing I thought before I left. I hear people say they're going on tour. But when I come back, I'm not seeing no musical development in what's happening. And they talk about how nice time they have and, other things that... But when I look around, you see a band of children here and a wife. You're going to see what best you could provide for them.
Right.
So, and that was my thing. And as soon as I do a gig, if a man asks me to score some music, and he comes a cent short of the agreed sum, he in for some trouble.
Right.
Because I cannot go and tell the people in the shop, I have a cent short.
And today you still cannot do it.
Well, this is what I know.
Yeah. They can't even go to the grocery with a promise.
Well,
And say, well, I will pay you tomorrow, or pay you next week, I think the musicians on a whole in Trinidad, it comes across somewhat to me, and I think it's changing now as people don't see musicians for what they would.
good.
I strongly believe so, because I used to be in bands. I was in 2 or 3 different bands doing song engineering, programming, percussion, and all these different things. And we play on the road for carnival, etc. And people don't see musicians, even the promoters, or they don't see musicians as important as probably a DJ
Very well.
or a soca artist. And like white musicians and calypsonians fall similar in that same kind of bracket. Right? I don't know why they don't get that kind of respect. And what are your views on how people see musicians today?
But I'm going to add to that. In music, we augmenting that.
Right.
Hear what's going on. When I just started, I decided to go to Port of Spain, and I asked for a particular musician. I wouldn't call his name now. He is deceased. And they told me, and I went and I found him. I said, good day, sir, I am so-and-so, I'm from Forest Reserve. I'm into learning, and I'm seeking out the people who are already advanced to give me some input and so on. His reply was, nobody ain't coming down south in that bush to look for no guitarist. You had to come in town. And what I did, I made a retrograde step to that. So in other words, I substituted his thought of progressiveness, which you have retrograde step in music. So I use the musical terminology to satisfy my demands, so I want to go.
Smart move.
And I decide that I stuck in Faizabad, because we had moved out to Faizabad after my dad resigned.
Yes.
And I burned the oil in the midnight, the oil whenever. Until one day, I was home. Somebody told me, Mr. Roy Cape called for you. I got a call, and I went up. I did 3 months with Roy. And another guy, then I went with Cummins.
Right, another Cummins.
The Wailers.
Correct.
And then Songrev was going on a tour.
And you jump on that bandwagon.
And then there was this guy who I know well. He used to play, one of the few guys who, I think myself and him, a trumpet player. The only 2 guys who were reading music, and we went with Songrev. I went up with them.
But you play with some of the biggest bands that have out. You're talking about Roy.
Yes,
the
I
great
worked with Roy.
The great Roy Cape.
And I was so happy to work with Roy for the simple reason. When you have a desire for learning and you see people who you know have it, there was the late great Frankie Francis.
Yes.
And from the time I met him, I went secretly, I said, Mr. Francis, I got some information of your prowessness as a master of the art. And I'm into learning to read and to do arranging and so. And I would like to do some personal work and bring it for you to assess it for me and tell me where I'm not doing well, and So a day I sit down and I do some calypso, about 2, and I score it out. And when I came for him and he opened, he said, "Way, young boy." He said, "You see this work you're doing here?" He said, "You go get real cocktail for it, He said, "Good, He said, "But it has some lazy fellas. They may want to do this,
They have a shortcut. Shortcut.
He said, the handwriting pretty and thing.
They're going through all of that. They're not going through that.
What I do basically, with basic calypso music and thing, I try to use like substitute chords. If I could just demonstrate something for you here.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Now you know this song, eh?
What song it is? What's the name of the song?
This is Old Lady Walk a Mile and a Half.
Right. Tilly.
This is...
Yeah, I hear Tilly. Yes.
Right. So when I play now, I will do that introduction like this. That's basic.
That's basic. But
Yes.
the one you were playing before was it
The other one, the one is what I was just doing, the subs, the chord sub, because the song only the song itself has just 3 chords.
3 chords.
4 chords.
Play it again. The one with the right.
Ba 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 da ba 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 da ba ba la ba 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 da da ba 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 do da 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 de da 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 oh yo yo and she telling me.
That's the sub chords.
No, this is the basic.
The basic.
What they call it, the 1-6-2-5 chord progression.
Right.
1, because in the key of C, C, D, E, F, G, A. A is 6.
Right.
D is 2, right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So C1, D2, E3, F4, G5, 6. This is 7. So this is what, so in learning a number chord. So if I had to teach you some music, like a song that has just 3 chords, and the chords are like C, F, and G,
right,
I will tell you chord 1.
Chord 1. So when I get chord 1,
chord 1 is C.
You see, director, we are not guitar here. Listen, I need to do some guitar classes.
Chord 4 will be F.
Because it's not helping me with all this.
And chord 5
these musicians coming with their fancy instruments.
And what happens now? When
Another player that are holding
when
something.
you start to advance, because you can build on the chord 1. So you have like a basic C, E, G chord.
And you build on that, you build.
And then you start putting intervals. So you're like C major, you have C major 6. Then we have C major 7. You have the major 9. And you have the 11th chord. Then you have the 13th. Because that's the 7th part. C, D, E, F, G, A, B.
Okay. Mr. Bass, we're going to take a short commercial break.
Nice.
And we're going to come right back on We Couttier. And yes, in our presence today, Trinidad and Tobago, we're listening to none other than Mr. Eugene Bass, the guitarist. And he's up close and personal with us, giving us his journey, his knowledge, his experience. He's sharing his story with us today. So we're going for a short break and we're going to come right back to you.
Cultural Heritage, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on NCBNTT Television Network.
I'm Steve David, and I'm your host. Today I talk football as usual, and I have with me Linda Bramble, welcome to the set, Michael Ragnar, welcome to the set. Instead George Jefferson, George Anthony Clark, welcome to the set. That's Dwight Deleon. The president of the SSFL, Mariri Gonzalez. Mariri, welcome to the set. Leroy Deleon, welcome to the set, Leroy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in every Tuesday night, and NCBNTT, thanks for the opportunity.
When we outside, it's an ocean of love. All that we align to the stars up above. Let we dance now, take a chance now with me. And we go jump till morning. Look, the moon gone sleeping. Tell them we not leaving till the last drop of a canal is madness in the capital. So I feel like I'm running tongue again. Jump and shake the drum again.
Tell me down there.
Tell me the mama song, tell my mama.
Every time I pass, you look at me. Every time I pass, you look at me. I go tell me mama, don't send me down there. I go tell me mama, don't send me down there. I go tell me mama, don't send me down there.
Should I have a little guitar here, man? I have a little things I could be strumming a little notes.
Every time I pass,
Still
you
look
whistle me. Every time I pass, you look at me. I go tell me mama, don't send me down there.
Music man.
I go tell me mama, don't send me down there.
Mama don't send me down by bass at all.
I go tell me mama, don't send me down there.
Calypso is soca, soca is calypso. You have that one? Calypso is soca, soca is
You mean,
calypso. Marshall?
Marshall?
Yes, you don't have that?
That must have about 3 chords.
But you know it? You know it?
I don't know it. I heard him do it. And contrary to what people say, he did, but in the old days of judging, I don't think he will get where he got to it, because he superimposed like a love way on something that was there, because I remember they did that to some Calypsonian years ago.
Initially came from, that was Brigo. Brigo.
Yeah.
That song was originally Brigo.
You know.
Music.
But as a musician, Sparrow is a great performer. Kitchener is the master.
Well, of course.
Kitchener, when I listen to Mystery Band, I say, but Kitchener is a scientist. Listen to that thing with them pan in the Dry River. That is imagination.
No, the man is very creative.
Yeah.
He's very creative. He knows his craft and he knows what he's about.
Yeah.
And just like you with your guitar, you know this inside out.
No, I'm still learning.
You're still learning?
Yeah,
Well, we never finish fully learn, you know. Right? We never finish, and that's why we here on We Culture, we are about promoting, about interacting with persons like yourself, musicians, even persons in the art form, because it's all about bringing the musicians to you. So I know we have probably about 15-20 minutes.
I want to do an original song, an original composition.
The floor is yours.
Vocal, yeah. This is dedicated on behalf of the black youth. The name of this song is Victim.
Written by you?
Yes.
So we didn't touch on the writing aspect.
Well,
we
this is one of it.
Black youth, eh?
Yeah, this is for our black youth.
Want to listen to this, youth out there.
Why, oh why, you always condemn me? Why, oh why, oh why, you always criticize me? Why, oh why, you try to make me the victim of society? You see, trying my best, you say I'm making a mess. You say I'm insane, and all my efforts are going in vain. People always say I'm wrong, still I try to be strong. Who are they to condemn me? They are the workers of iniquity. Iniquity, eh? You see me as nobody. You see yourself as somebody in society.
See yourself.
You say you are the best, and I'm cursed and not blessed. Face reality, you're living in a fantasy, oh yeah. My love and song help to make the world go round, but your vanity will only corrupt humanity. People always say I'm wrong, still I try to be strong. Who are they to condemn me? They are the workers of iniquity. Wake up, my brother, wake up. Wake up, my sister, wake up and face the truth. Get up and get, just don't sit and wait. By the time you find out, it may be just too late. This song was composed since 1983.
For my black youth, 1983. Don't sit down and wait. You need to get up. And since 1983, you're saying that, and we're in 2024, and they're still sitting down.
I did this, you know Alvin, you see him on TV now, Alvin from Ramatali Park, Alvin Roberts.
Ramatali Park?
Yeah.
It's Faizo again?
Yeah, because I was living right Faizabad, and he really sing nice, but I did this, I wanted him to record it.
Okay.
Because I have some other compositions and I wish.
But it was never recorded?
No, not as yet.
Okay. You ever think you will still want to do that?
Yes, because I think the time is right now.
Time is now.
I mean, with I don't know if you know the police guy live countries, Marcel Gavin.
I don't know.
You should know Gavin Marcel.
I don't
you know
know.
Gavin? He's a sergeant in the army himself, and Rodriguez from.
I know Rodriguez.
Right, and I remember going to Philo's dad when they were cadets. I went to Mr. Rodriguez and I tell him, I say, Major, they used to call him, I want to do some work with the guys because I said in the police band, and police band plays a lot of calypsos.
Correct.
If I could get a chance, and I started doing some and carry for them.
Rodriguez in the police band.
Yeah, and we became very close. And I get a lot of respect from those guys because, you know, sometimes some people know something and they put it on the show.
They hold it to themselves.
Like, all my children do music.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a daughter, her name is Shirma.
Music?
Shomaya, she does a lot of vocals. She trains people for vocals. And then my last daughter, this point, Janine, wow, she plays pan as well.
Music again.
Our son, Kevon he just came off a gig there. And then my youngest son, if you go in to do Panorama, next 20 minutes, you want a bass player, that's the man. Yeah.
You could form your own band?
You are God-sent guy. No, this is what is in the making. The name of the group will be Liberation Voices.
Liberation Voices? Yeah, you have a band. You have all these musicians, your children play this instrument, that, and the wealth of knowledge and experience you would have gained over the years. You could take that and turn that into your own band.
It will be to commemorate the Pan-Africanists from Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
Who sought, to see equality for black people. People like the same, remember Clemmy George? They used to call him the walking encyclopedia.
Right.
He had history of Trinidad. He also has history, the African diaspora thing. And those, I used to sit down and the coffee listening to them guys, our fire officer, and I sit down right there because that information, you cannot get it nowhere.
No, you're not going to get it. It's difficult to get it. Yeah. No. These guys have that in their head. And I mean, give Jackie, they did their fair share, so they have that wealth of knowledge for them.
And I see, as Matterson said just now, I was fortunate to open for the late, great Hugh Masakila in 2003
Excellent.
At on the Greens in Port of Spain.
Greens in Port of Spain.
Yeah, it was myself. Don't know if you know Tamba Gwindi.
No, I'm familiar with the name.
That's the guy. Was himself Mr. This guy who lives, the artist. He used to teach Benedict's. His daughter name is Arlene Wilkes. She came from his Wayne, but she was living in Europe for years. And somebody gave me the message. She's looking for a guitarist. She's going to do a concert in the Bowl, and she wanted a guitar player. And I turned up, and she started doing all the folk stuff, all them old spoiler calypso and thing.
Right.
She said, "You live in Trinidad?" I said, "All my years, I've been living here." And we did the show.
Did you practice and you did the show as well with her?
Yeah, we did. Beautiful. Only three of us. We opened for Hugh Masakila on the Greens.
Okay.
Three of us. And it was beautiful.
Yeah, but that you see, once you could produce that kind of music, you're talking about a different level musician, You're talking about, you're separating sheep from the goats. You're talking about someone who has experience, somebody who knows music, who can read music, who can write music. I know there are persons who can just hear a song play and then they will just play some chords and stuff.
Right.
But there's a difference when you can read music.
Yeah, it helps a lot.
Yeah.
And I think one of the greatest advantages it has is economics.
Economics?
Yeah, because if a song is 5 minutes long and you're not reading,
yes,
you got to listen for 5 minutes and then go and produce it in another 5. So that's 10 minutes. But if I am reading,
that's 5 minutes.
And the music and the
song is 5 minutes.
The fee is $200 per record. It means you spending 10 minutes before you get 200.
And now if you could read the music,
that's 10 by 2.
Correct. And if you could read it, you could spend 5 minutes for the same 200.
That's what we're talking about.
Belong to dollars and cents.
Yeah.
Well,
and this is the advantage of reading.
But I'm ask you something. The soca, we talk about calypso. Can you play soca? You're familiar with it? Well, I mean, I shouldn't ask if you could play soca, but I should say if you can play a soca for me now.
But what I realized in it that there is this, and I want to kind of take a side on this in the terms that when I listen to the bass in the soca music, I remember as a little guy, Dutchies, and this soca derives from Latin music. If you listen to Latin music well, there is something here. And and if you listen to Latin music, you will hear that. And this is what is, because I listen to even the soca now, And in listening to what is happening with the advent of technology and a lot of electronic music, a lot of the percussion music that is coming our way, these hands have disappeared from the live Congo drums.
Yeah, everything is percussion now.
To the live on this.
Drum machine.
And everything, the frequency of everything sounds the same.
It is, yeah, because it's a sensitized.
Right.
Kind of, the sound is totally different from a live. So for me, I always prefer a live band over anything because I like to hear that live instrument. It brings life to the actual music itself.
But this is what I'm saying, you know, and I work with people, and I so happen I work with Fortuna Ruiz, his children, his two sons in London.
Right.
They do music. We had a group called the Reese Brothers.
The Reese Brothers?
Reese Brothers, yeah.
Okay.
He, when I knew him, he came out of the police band, right? And I remember we were in Palaseco and the police band came, and I went and listened. There was my favorite band leader in those days, I didn't know, was the late Ron Berridge Orchestra. And when I listened to what he was doing, I used to want to be able to grow, to do that kind of stuff. And the chord structure, I hear that Coleman and them fellas, I always want to be able to do that and play it, you know.
Yes.
Zeno, I work with Zeno Constance in the field of drama and thing, and I did some work with him. And they had a lot of Kitchener music in that, and I was so glad to get that.
Happy with that.
You know, yeah.
So let me ask you something. So with all this going on now, do you still, because I mean you said you played just recently, not too long ago, if persons want to reach out to you or to get in contact with you,
yes, sir,
do you still go out and play for them?
Yes.
At this time?
Yes, sir. And what I stress on a lot too, when I listen to the radio station and I listen to commentaries by even political figures, they're stressing much on the black people, the black this, we're killing one another, we're killing this. I want to reach out to us.
Right.
Whether they have money or not, I want to reach out because here what happened. What the creator put inside of here, nobody can take that out.
Only he could take, only
and I don't
himself.
think they could pay me enough for giving it. So if I have it, and I got it free, you know.
Right.
Right. And this is, I want to see, because all my children do music and I never sit down with them. They choose, I never tell them to do it. Right. And my daughter, the one who lives in La Romaine, she teaches voice.
Ethnic genes,
it's
genetic.
And this is what I'm saying. And then when I check the name itself, so I had to be a musician. God know that, because how my father going and make a son and put his name on my name.
That makes that
yeah,
right.
Man. This is a song I did. If I'm doing a song with a bass player, he will only be playing
the bass line, the bass line.
If you notice, one set of chords, and this is a pedal, this stays here.
Stays right through.
And it plays right through, and the melodies goes on top of it. Right?
Yeah,
but
excellent.
when the liberation voices come out, you hear the true nature of what this is all about.
So just before we wrap up, so if persons try to get in contact with you, how can they reach you?
788 6121.
788-6121.
Yes,
right.
Eugene Bass.
Eugene Bass.
Yes.
So there you go. if you're trying to reach out to someone who plays guitar, who even teaches, or who have a wealth of knowledge and experience, we have in our presence here Mr. Bass. And from you heard it for yourself, you see it for yourself as well, what his knowledge and his experience is. I mean, this gentleman, listen, I can't even start to play this. I might get my finger cut up and all kind of stuff and can't touch no one. So I know we're out of time, and I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Mr. Bass. And you can take us out. Take us out, right?
Remember this by Shorty?
Take us out.
La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Life today, Lord, yesterday.
Rash Shorty eye, right?
Friendship gone. Singing, oh, Shanti Om, Shanti Shanti Om, Bam ba ba da ba ba da da da, ba da ba da ba ba do be do, ba 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 da ba ba da da, ba 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 da ba ba do.
When we outside, it's an ocean of love. All that we align to the stars up above. Let we dance now, take a chance now with me. And we go jump till morning. Look, the moon gone sleeping. Tell them we not leaving till the last drop of a canal.